This episode is sponsored by the Paper Trails Greeting Company. Runners near and far, hear ye, hear ye. There's an amazing company that's dedicated to celebrating and encouraging every runner that laces up a pair of running shoes, and it's called the Paper Trails Greeting Company. This company offers something that's hard to replicate in a text message, and that is a physical, innovative, and genuine note of kindness that supports and celebrates every runner. The motto of the company is that every runner belongs, and each card proves that. The cards preach community among all runners, and there's a card for each season of a runner's journey. If you've run a new personal best, there's a card that celebrates that. If you suffered an injury, there's a card that lets you know that someone is thinking of you and that you'll come back even stronger. There's even a card that celebrates your significant running other. For me personally, I never felt like a runner. But then I stumbled across the Paper Trails Greeting Company, and it inspired me to pick up running again, and eventually it made me feel like I was a part of the running community. Go on their website, papertrailsgreetingco.com, and check out their incredible selection of cards. Use the code Lactic Acid in all caps for 15% off your order. They also have inspirational stickers and PDF printouts, so be sure to check those out as well. Then follow them on their social media page on Instagram, Paper Trails Greeting Co., as well on Facebook. And always remember to celebrate every runner and that every runner belongs. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, and welcome to Lactic Acid, the podcast where the takes are fresh, the ideas are ripe, and that makes us the best in the bunch. I am your host, Dominique Smith, and today, if you paid attention to my Instagram account, well, the show's Instagram account, I told y'all we were going to have a couple special episodes this month, and this is episode 1 of the little 2-part series, and it's a very special episode. This is our Black History Month episode, cultivating excellence in our community and obviously striving for greatness and to continue to achieve and to move to new heights. And I am joined by some all-stars. I am joined by some gold medalists and people who are making a difference in the track and field, journalists or storytelling and creative content community. We're going to talk about some of the issues, some of the things that we've learned, some of the things that we see, and we're going to keep it light as well because that's what we do on this show. So let me introduce the panel to you, and I'm going to introduce it. If you're watching on YouTube, definitely check that out. I'm going to introduce it from my bottom right to my top left, and if you are listening in, then you can just kind of hear as we go along. So on my bottom right and middle side, we have the legendary brothers, Aaron and Joshua Potts. They are of the Two Black Runners publication, content creators out from California doing big things.
Yes, sir.
To my bottom left, we have T Williams, Real Talk with T, now on Apple. T, is it on Spotify?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is a brand new podcast, but it's something that she's been doing, live interviews on Instagram, not trying to do that. So you need to subscribe it to someone who knows what she's doing. To my top right, I have my man, Matthew Parker, MJP TV. And I forgot the name of the running club. Is it the I Fly No Wings running club?
Wings Track Club.
Whatever, same thing. No, Wings Track Club out of Houston, Texas. My man is doing incredible content there. Definitely check him out. And to my left, got my Florida homeboy, Kadeem Wynn, who is the Swiss Army knife of RunnerSpace. He's definitely creating these insane videos. If you kind of followed us, you've seen some of the videos from our time in the Magic Boost program. Kadeem was the homie that put that together with his cinema mindset. Should win an award, I'm just saying. But yes, this is our crew, and I am so pumped. How you guys doing?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having us.
Yes, appreciate everybody coming on the show, taking time out of your busy schedule. Today is Sunday, also known as the Lord's Day in America. Mm-hmm. So usually we get started. I usually ask if you had to pick a superhero to describe whatever profession that you do or whatever the case might be, who would you choose? And so I am going to ask that at the end. So, I must love you guys because I'm giving you a heads up to think about it.
Yeah, I could prepare for that one.
Appreciate that. Hey, the gears started turning in my head. I was like,
Listen, I'm being nice today. That may change later on, but I told you this before the show. I just had a big meal, so y'all forgive me if a brother is struggling and straining through this. If there was a go-to itis plate, so itis being, I call it a knockout plate. It's that plate of food like you eat on Thanksgiving, that just you eat it and then you're out for 2 to 4 business days. If there was a go-to knockout plate that you would choose to eat on for the rest of your life, what's on it? So we're going to start with Kadeem. So get us started.
All right. Well, it's actually a little creation that I made a few months ago, kind of just playing around with stuff since I like to cook. So what it is it's rice, and typically I like to use jasmine rice with some collard greens, but then you can get some onions, some carrots, and you get the smoked turkey drumsticks, and you just slow cook those for several hours. And then after that, you basically pull them off the bone, pull them off the tendons, shred them up, and then just put it all into one big bowl, pot, whatever you want to do. And I made that for Thanksgiving, actually this year for the first time. And my sisters loved it. My girlfriend loved it. My mom loved it. So my mom loves it. Then I think it's definitely a good thing.
Hey, I can dig it. Matthew, what you going with?
Okay, so if I had to eat it for the rest of my life, I'm going to change my options from what I was thinking. So we building the itis plate. You got to start with the mac and cheese, right? You can't go wrong with that. Mama didn't put her foot in that. Then you got to put the yams on the side. You feel me? And we don't do collard greens. We do mustard greens. You put the mustard greens in there, right?
Yes.
Then you get, of course, you got to get either a piece of chicken or a turkey leg. And, we do it a little strange down here. At Thanksgiving, my family, we like to have some tamales. So I got to throw a tamale on that plate. And then, it's Tex-Mex. I live in Texas. Come on now. We got to have some Tex-Mex in there. But to finish off the plate, you got to have a good Hawaiian roll. You got to put that roll on top of there. It's lights out. Shipping and handling, you're out of there.
We don't discriminate on this show.
I was like, what the hell?
The tamales and the Hawaiian roll. You don't?
Yeah, come on now.
Y'all don't believe in cornbread down there? Whole cake?
Oh, we got the cornbread too, but you gotta have something to stop up all that au jus.
T, go ahead.
All right. Well, I'm from the South, so I'm gonna go ahead and get some Southern deep fried tilapia fish. You feel me? Main course. Then I'm gonna go ahead. I like a lot of sides, so I'm gonna go ahead and have macaroni and cheese, baked macaroni and cheese, collard greens, and some sweet. I'm gonna say sweet potato casserole because I like yams, but I like sweet potato casserole better. That's gonna be my plate. That's gonna knock me out. Gotta have some ketchup and some ranch on the side to dip the fish in.
Ranch? That's a first. Is that
I can kind of see the ketchup, but
ranch on what?
Fish
on the side.
I mean, okay. I can somewhat understand that with it being fried. I can somewhat understand that.
Okay.
Never heard of it.
Hey, that's why I'm putting y'all on. So next time, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know where y'all got it from me. Dip it in a little bit of ranch.
Okay, hard pass. Listen, I've never. I'm not even gonna say hard pass. I actually might end up trying that.
But you won't have a tamale though.
I've had a tamale, but I'm not putting a tamale with a fried chicken.
Boy, you need to come down here to Houston and go to Alamo and get you some of the pork and the chicken, and I promise you will change your mind. You'll have it at every Thanksgiving.
Oh, I promise you I won't, but I'll try it. Josh, what you rolling with, man?
I think mine's pretty simple, to be honest. Give me some mac and cheese, some baked mac and cheese, no craft up in here. You know what I'm talking about. Give me some sweet potato yams, some biscuits that my aunt made. Not so well. Those are rolls. Those are rolls, Aaron. Biscuits, rolls.
They're rolls. Yeah,
they're rolls. They ain't no Hawaiian rolls though. No shade. Some fried chicken, some classic fried chicken with some hot sauce. Some ham. Some ham definitely. Ham is definitely better than turkey all the time. collard greens is something you need to have because you need some type of vegetables in there. But you feel
Yep.
me? And then it's for dessert. Let me get some peach cobbler with some vanilla ice cream on top. You feel me? Like that's needed.
Okay, I like that. Aaron, what we rolling with, man?
Man, y'all got me hungry, man. I'm on this Daniel's fast right now. You're saying all this food I can't eat. But I'm gonna have to say, since me and Joshua are brothers, you know, we're gonna have similar things. But I'm gonna go with gumbo. We're gonna have some gumbo. It's gonna have some, you know, rice at the bottom in it, some black beans. We're gonna have crab in there, we're gonna have shrimp, we're gonna have sausage. It's gonna be like spicy sausage. And then you gotta top it off. We're gonna get some cornbread, you're gonna mash it up, you're gonna sprinkle it on top of there. That gonna have you knocked. That's gonna have you knocked. And then for sure, you gotta end it with some peach cobbler. Peach cobbler with some ice cream on top. You gotta warm it up too.
Man.
Lost me at the beans and the cornbread, but go off.
Hey, minus the shrimp, that actually sounds pretty banger.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Man. You on the Daniels, dog, but remember the prodigal son, they had a barbecue for him. So doing biblical diets.
Yo.
You know, they had a fish fry, you know, when he fed the 5,000 women and children. Okay, I can dig that. So you guys went dinner. I'm gonna go breakfast.
Ooh.
I'm going some cheese grits, some thick cheese grits, some eggs, some Uncle John's sausage. You have to be the South to know that. That's the boiled sausage that has all the bad stuff in it for you, or some Jimmy Dean sausage patties, or some hickory and applewood smoked bacon with biscuits and some preserves. That should take me on to eternity, up to glory. And then I have to add this for dessert because that peach cobbler, yeah. So mine would be some one or two scratch made banana pudding, or my favorite, some red velvet cake.
Ooh, good choice.
Nice piece of red velvet cake. That's mine. And here's the thing, we could have mentioned so many things. Nobody even brought up barbecue.
I was thinking about barbecue.
That's true, but the barbecues, yeah.
You listen. So
barbecue don't have you right the next day all the time, though. That's the thing.
It depends. Okay, so it depends on what you eat. So that's kind of the rule of thumb.
Yo.
If you eat potato salad at a barbecue, then that's your fault, and you get messed up. That's your fault, because I'm sure somebody in your family has taught you cannot eat everyone's potato salad.
Oh, there's big facts.
So that's why, you know, I avoided barbecue. I should have did that. You know, we could have gotten to some pigeon peas and rice, some black-eyed peas, some purple whole peas, but you know, we just need to get going because this could be a food-related episode, and brother's already struggling. So this is Black History Month. So we got an opportunity. The way I was thinking about this. The first time I met them, we were all at the restaurant in Eugene. Matt punched me in the face. First time I met him.
Where was I?
By accident. I was going for the handshake.
No,
and I socked him in the face.
Yeah, it's like I owed him some money.
What?
For what? Matt, do you shake hands like this?
No, so I was reaching out like this, right? And it just smushed. And so I was just like, bro, this is how I'm gonna start off this trip, punching someone in the face, like, bro. What is going on?
My glasses fell into the bowl of tater tots and I couldn't see anything. I was just like, just slapped me. But we were a part of the Magic Boost program, and by the time this episode airs, the submissions will be closed, but I encourage you all to go on our social media pages, and if you have questions, please ask us. Reach out to Chris Chavez and the great people at Hayward Magic. But we were part of that, and it promoted storytelling in track and field and diversity in track and field. And one thing that we noticed specifically when you're in the media tent and when you're in the press conference and everything, there's no one, I don't want to say no one, but it all looks and feels the same. To me, that was the vibe, that the athletes got, because diversity is more than, what is the normal word. There's diversity in thoughts. And so we got an opportunity to go and present that. And so my question to get it started, and this is just a generic question that I'm curious, what it means to you. What does it mean to be a Black storyteller in this profession covering the sport of track and field? Especially, there's not a lot of representation of Black people. There's not a lot of representation of women in different races and ethnicity. So what does it mean to you all? And anyone could take it.
For me, I would say it means everything, because that's the whole reason why I started reporting like track and field. Because first I had my vlog with my 5 other friends my senior year of high school, and we were just like vlogging cross country stuff. And I still think like what we were doing in the small like community and like following that we got from that, like the biggest reason for that is that was the diversity that we had. Like I was Black, and then I had my one friend who was really fast. Like he got third in state that year in California. That man was 0.75 Black, you feel me? And then we had like 3 Mexicans and then one white dude. He was point seven.
Why you gotta do him like
he had
that?
the specific number. He's like, yeah, this much Black.
Because he definitely looked different. He definitely looked different. Shout out Tyler though. Shout out T Spence. But no, like for real, like that, I feel like that diversity is really what attracted people to us. And like it was nothing like you see in cross country before. Then once I started doing reporting and track, like the whole motivation was just the fact of like, dang, when I go to these meets like in college, and even when I went to these meets in high school, like I didn't see a lot of people reporting that were like me. Then when I look onto like the news and everything, like I don't see a lot of people that have my vision. And I know that if there were more people like us in this space reporting it, like my uncles would start watching. I would have cousins that would start watching. And I feel like once me and Aaron started doing that and we started meeting more people in the space too, like they started catching on, and now they'll watch from time to time, and definitely from the stuff that we're keeping up to. And I think that momentum's just gonna keep on going and going. So yeah, that means everything to me. That's what motivates me, to be honest.
0.75 Black, man, gonna get me kicked off the show, and we just started. And everything.
He is though. Shout out Tyler, bro. Shout out Tyler.
Wow. Whoever wants to take it back.
I'll just piggyback off Joshua, and it's just like, for me, being Black is like that. Yeah, that's big part of my identity. And just growing up, being a darker skinned brother, wherever I went, we grew up in the suburbs. Wherever I went, I stood out, and wherever I went, I was representing my culture. I always felt like that. And growing up being a distance runner, I was always put in these situations where I was the only in whatever I did. And as I've grown older, and then as I grew older and older and became more, comfortable with my identity, and then like our dad instilling, that pride into us, like Joshua was saying, like it is like, it means everything in this space, because I look at it and I'm like, yo, this is our sport, like this is ours. You know what I mean? And we need to, yeah, we're on the track, but we need to be everywhere. We need to be the meet directors. We need to be doing the media. We need to be everywhere, because this is really like, this is our sport. You know what I mean? So it's really important to me to first like push, because we need to be telling our own stories. We need to be telling our people's stories. And in a lot of just situations, historically, other people are telling our stories. Other people are telling our history, and it's not told the way it should be told. And if you don't know where you came from, it's hard to know where you're going. And I think that's a lot of it too, just in general, where that like pride comes from. And if I can do that within like track and field or something else I'm passionate about, like that's just really awesome.
I want to piggyback a little bit off of what you were just saying. One, the part that you were just talking about, telling our own stories. It's kind of hard to think about it. It's hard to tell a story if it's hard to tell someone's story if you also haven't been there or have had similar experiences. Like you actually reminded me, growing up, I was in similar positions where, I was the only, person of color in this situation or that situation, or like my high school cross country team, majority of them were white. And like, that's fine. But when you grow up like that, it allows you to have a different perspective and a different outlook on life. And there are things that you are able to pick up and notice more that, maybe someone else might not even think twice about. Think about when, we were in the mix zone at the pre-classic, someone else who's there, who's, been established and been there a while, they might not think twice about the demographic in the room. But you have people like us, we walk in. I know for myself personally, whenever I go places, sometimes it sucks to say, but that's also the first thought that comes to my mind. It's just like I do a quick scan of the room. Oh, yep, I'm the one or two people of color here. So yeah, it is definitely something that you do pick up on, that you do notice going forward. But like you mentioned about the pride, it also allows you to have kind of like a chip on your shoulder going into those situations, because it's more so like, just because I'm a person of color doesn't mean that I can't do what someone else is doing, or to the certain level. I'm basically just gonna, do my job and do what you do, and if better, then so be it. But yeah, it allows you to have a bit of a chip on your shoulder, and that allows you to carry that pride. My mom always told me, you're not just representing yourself when you walk out of the door. You're representing me, you're representing, your sisters, your team, your job, like whatever it is, you're always representing other things outside of just yourself.
No, that's real though, because I remember my parents always tell me the same thing. It's how, the way the world looks at you and the way you look at yourself should be two different things. Because like you said, the world is going to look at you as, almost this monolith, right? Of, oh, he's an African American, right? And I think having us all be at Prefontaine together, I think it was very eye-opening, because we all came with a different perspective, yet we come from the same culture, right? And I think just seeing that and having all these different Black creators with different backgrounds, even similar backgrounds, tell stories and be in the mix zone, it made an impact. I mean, T, for example, she started off the press conference and brought the energy. She asked one of the first questions to the girls run the 800, and you saw how that kind of changed the room. And the fact that we all can be Black, but we're all different at the same time, right? Because I feel like oftentimes they try and categorize us just in the African American bubble, right? Instead of looking at us as Dominique Smith or Kadeem Wynn or as Joshua Potts or as Aaron Potts or as T, they look at us as, oh, this is an African American instead of the individual. And I think having us there is going to help change that. And I feel like, we're heading in a good direction.
For sure. No, it means everything to be a young Black woman in this profession, to be honest. Like hearing young Black girls like come to me like, oh, like you look like what you do. Like it just means everything to know that they have someone who can connect with them and can relate to them on so many levels. And not just talking about Black girls, like just a whole community in general, like just young athletes being able to see someone who's literally fresh off the track, who just was lining up against them and now have an opportunity to like amplify track voices is just different. Like being able in the profession, looking up to Sonya Richard Ross, like I spoke to her about just being a Black woman in this profession, and she told me like you just got to find your voice, like find what's comfortable for you, and just be confident in it, and just get better every time you get on the camera. So it means everything just to be able to look out for my community and have a platform to where I can show what my people doing, show what everybody doing, and just bring more love to the whole sport itself. It means more to me than anything, to be honest, like to be real.
I think what's unique is that you could probably name a football, a basketball, analyst or somebody who reports that looks like us or, has diverse thoughts. But track and field, you're grasping at straws. And I think one of the, we talk about all the time, you know, the coverage needs to be better. Track and field needs to be better in how they present the news well, and, you know, how they cover events and, you know, X, Y, and Z. But in this sport, I think that one of the problems, and any, you know, if you can jump in on this thought, is that one of the reasons, and this is just my opinion, that this sport is not growing the way it should is because we're still coming up with the same ideas, and we're writing the same stories, and we're shooting the same videos, and we're talking to the same people. The thing about the Prefontaine Classic to me was, okay, we're at the press conference, and okay, fine, Sha'Carri Richardson's there, and you got, you know, Elaine Thompson, which even the seating arrangement of that was just insane to me. How, you know, they put Elaine Thompson in the back. She's a gold, you know, medalist. I know Sha'Carri was the star of the show, but you look around the room and look at all the other gold medalists and silver medalists and Olympians are there. There's so many stories from so many unique perspectives that can be told, and it almost feels like no one is willing to break the mold to diversify in the thought process. Is that something that goes into your minds when you go and tell stories? Because there are questions. T, you talked to Sha'Carri, I don't know if it was the press conference or if it was the mix zone, I think it was the press conference, about being from Houston and everything. Aaron and Josh, I did a story with Abby Cooper, and the first thing, you know, that she talked about is the energy that you guys had, you know, with the baton talk, you know, all that stuff. Kadeem, I mean, the way that you're able to break things down in video is very, like I said, it's a very, I don't know, I got so many compliments, you know, based on how you set up the video, the questions that you asked and all of that. And then Matthew, you're making differences in young runners' lives, man, you know, doing what you do, and then you're working on college commitments and everything. But all of us present a different element where we tell stories, and we tell stories about athletes, and we bring perspectives to people that, you know, they didn't even think of. So does that aspect of it ever, I don't want to say drive you, but is that something that you're conscious of, especially in the platform that we in, especially being able to relate to these athletes from a different way, in a different way?
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, just picking the stories I choose to cover and the angle I take it from, right? Because, you know, you can do the typical rap. It's like, oh, they did X, Y, and Z and ran this time and blah, 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 blah. I think I like to approach it from a human standpoint, right? Where I like to look at the psychology too, where it's like, hey, this guy's coming off a loss, and, you know, he's really building towards this one goal. And he's, you know, this kid from, you know, Akron, like LeBron, or he's a kid from Georgia, and he's just waiting for this moment, right? And being able to convey that from a African-American perspective, I think is extremely powerful. And just the way we can break things down sometimes, and I mean, almost the vibe and the energy, like you were talking about, is different, and not better, but just different, because we need all those different perspectives from track and field. It's not just, like you said, it's our sport, but we need to hear more voices. And I feel like our voices haven't been as pronounced as they should be. Like Aaron was saying, where we, you know, if you look at Black correspondents in track and field, who do we have? We have Addo Bolden, and we have, who's our guy on NBC? Why am I blanking right now?
Yeah, Sonny Richards Ross, Ado Bolden,
Lewis Johnson.
Lewis Johnson.
Yeah, so
Is Dan O'Brien mixed? You maybe just be light skinned. Dan O'Brien.
But yeah, like think about it. We have to think so hard for Black correspondents in track and field. And I think with the group that we had up in Oregon and the people who are going to come after us, I think that's going to start to change, because I want to see all of us at LA in 2028 doing big things. You know, that's 6 years away, but I think this generation, you know, this new generation of talent that we have that's cultivating can do something major and really change the trajectory of track and field, because I think the sport is stuck in the mud, like Dominique was saying, and I think we have the right people to change that.
Before T, you get started, Dan O'Brien is mixed. He's African American and Finnish.
Why are y'all
he's-
laughing at
Hey,
me?
there we
bro?
go. We
So-
got four.
so-
We got four. We got four by
so,
four.
yeah.
Joshua with all the technicalities tonight, bro. He
I
could come
was-
to the
I was
cookout, bro. He
I
could
was
come
just
to the
trying to make.
cookout.
I didn't say he
5.
couldn't. Like I knew Dylan Bryan could definitely come. Damn, Brian, you want to come on the podcast? We can do that. You feel me? All right. I'll just put that
And
out
then,
there.
and then to echo something Matthew said that I think is extremely important, and I think people, and the reason I think people think this is because they don't take the time to actually listen. Nobody is saying that we're better than anyone, but we're just saying, we deserve a seat at the table as well, and to be developed, like all of our other counterparts, instead of, one shot. If they don't work, oh, okay, cool, I gave him a shot. Go ahead, T.
I was just gonna touch on how you said relate, because that's one of my main secrets is that I love to find something I can relate to while I'm interviewing that can make the athlete more comfortable. Like for instance, like you brought up the whole Sha'Carri interview. I started off saying being a Black young woman from Texas like myself, because when you find something that people can relate to, it opens, I guess it lets some of the walls down when they feel like they have something in common with you. I was gonna just touch on that a little bit. That's all.
Okay. No
Just another slight example of that, going off what T just said, with the Potts brothers. I'm pretty sure when you guys were talking to Noah Lyles, you guys asked him about anime related questions, and you also asked him like freestyle real quick for 2 seconds. So basically that's just another example of finding things instead of yes, ask your core questions, but then personalize it, because when you can personalize stuff and really relate on a more human level, that's where you start finding the sweet stories.
Can I ask a question real quick? Who were you prepared for Noah Lyles to drop the bars that he did right after running 1952?
All I gotta say is Noah ain't ready for the bars I'm about to drop on him.
Bruh,
Worlds. That's what I gotta
Hold
say,
on.
bro.
Okay.
He ain't ready
We
for
got
the bars
diss track
I'm about
coming.
to drop. You know what I'm
Tell
saying?
Dark
The
and
diss
Handsome.
track. He ain't ready
Tell
for
Dark and
the
Handsome.
Don't be writing no
full
raps like you
album.
did last
16,
time.
16 tracks about to drop on his head. You know what I mean? No.
What does Shaq say? Underdog, put that on a t-shirt. Yeah. Dude. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, but yeah, off everyone's saying too, when I think of things I really like the name of our podcast is Two Black Runners, and that is what's the word? That is very a big deal. White people don't even feel comfortable. Oh yeah, those are the two black runners. The fact that that just being our name, and the fact that that's amazing branding, because from now on we're gonna be about, and they're gonna be who are those? Oh, those are the two black runners. Because being two black runners, you stand out. That's why that name works. So for me, I just think about being myself and being authentically myself and not trying to be anything else. I might not be saying my words right all the time. I might say but I've been in this sport before. I ran my entire life since the second grade. I ran in college and all that. So I understand somewhat that lifestyle, and also I have an understanding of Black culture. I am part of Black culture. So that's just different, and that's the reason why we're doing as we're doing. And another thing too is I just feel track and field is behind, because it's been like this in sports. Stuart, the reason why me and Joshua have the energy we have and we are is because Stuart Scott, gotta pay homage to Stuart Scott, Stephen A. Smith. When they first were doing their thing and acting the way they were on camera, people were like, what? They're doing too much. You know what I mean? And we're Black. We're gonna relate, because that's how we talk about sports. That's just how we talk about sports in our culture. So I feel like that's just where that comes from. And that you see how big that is in other sports, but track is just so track is just always so far behind in that way.
And I think also like going off like when we were naming like Dan O'Brien, Sonya Richards Ross, and all those people, I do think there is like a lot of people in media and on like when you turn on the Olympics, you see black reporters. They may not be the anchor all the time, like the main person doing the color commentary, but they're there and the former athletes are participating in it. But just the problem with that is that like track isn't every single weekend on NBC. So you're not going to see that every single week. And then the most track media that we consume is through social media, and looking through social media, it's not it's not as diverse as it once was. But I feel definitely in 2020, oh my gosh, like so many different channels and people have definitely started coming out, and we're definitely a part of that. That have been all like, wow, there's so the variety and diversity that we see in that track media space is growing so much. And I feel like that's been the great thing of naming our pod and like kind of being labeled as the two black runners. Because going back to your original question, Dom, like I feel like that has kind of eliminated the idea of just being all like intentional on like what we do and trying to show people, because no matter what, like we're just two black runners interviewing whoever, so like that's always there with it. But I will say one of the best compliments that we ever got on one of our reviews is when someone was all like, I love how they're always try to highlight the woman in the sport. And I'm all like, that was so big for me, because sometimes we do try and do that because I feel like it is underrepresented a lot of the times. But then other times I'm all like, dang, Aaron, we just had a whole month of just women guests. Like I don't know how that happened, but it's really just like those are the athletes we love and enjoy, and those are the people we want to highlight, and those are some of our favorite people in the sport. So kind of just like stripping it down and really like Matt was saying, like taking it from a human perspective, taking it from a fan perspective. Like I don't really like a lot of times like I care what the audience thinks, like most definitely, but like I want to highlight the stuff that I love, that I can enjoy, that I can go on and talk about 10 minutes about just straight. And if that's going to be about a thing Mo, Josette Norris, Safana San, Atara Davis, like for a whole hour podcast, like man, you just gonna have to live with that because they doing great things. They doing great things. So that was definitely, so that's the only one thing that like I'll be conscious about a lot of times. But by now it's all like, yeah, we just reporting on what we want to report, and the blackness will come out for sure.
I was trying to figure out because I felt like we were missing commentators. So Alicia Montano or Montania.
Yeah,
Yep.
Elisa Montano.
Okay, my bad if I got it wrong, Alicia. No, I got it right the first time. So ignore the second pronunciation. So Montano, and then Michelle Carter in the shot.
Yeah.
But there were two things about what all of you said that stood out. One, I think it kind of reinforces the idea of the track and field media should look like a Thanksgiving table. I think so. You need those veteran journalists. You need those veteran journalists that understand it from a different standpoint. Then you need the photographers that Johnny Zhang, Johnny
Go.
the what do they call what GQ Johnny or whatever.
And shoot.
Johnny is climbing poles. Johnny came on the show and was telling like me a story about how he was climbing a pole like at the last minute, and then the officer told him he had to come down or he was going to get arrested or whatever the case might be. Like you need people, but it was to get a different shot, because if somebody's taking 10,000 pictures of the same shot, then it's just the same picture essentially. We need all these voices, these different voices. You need a Chris Chavez, you need a Dana and Emma and all that stuff, because honest to God's truth, from the Magic Boost program, from what I've seen to the moment that we're recording this episode, there are stories that I just haven't heard. And there's so many different angles that I just haven't heard. And I think the more voices that you have, the more you grow the sport, because you're going to be able to touch on different issues and you're going to be able to cover, different things. One thing that I am curious about, all of us, and I see Tia had to step away for a minute, all of us have these platforms. So I have Lactic Acid, you know, Matthew has yours, Kadeem, you know, Posh Brothers, you guys have yours. And so the one thing that I'm sincerely curious about, we are in a very competitive field. And so T's coming back in. So, and it's perfect timing for this question. We're in this competitive field and we all have our struggles and we're all trying to change the perception and to continue to grow as individual storytellers, content creators, but also grow the sport through diversity. Do you all feel that we are in competition? Do you look at it as a competition-based field? Like we're all competing against each other, you know, to be the best, or is it kind of a community aspect? Because here's the thing, in journalism school, I'll keep it real, it was competitive because it's like we got to get the story before X, Y, and Z gets the story. We have to get the breaking news before they get the news. We have to be the ones to get the exclusive interviews. We cannot be last. How do you guys see it?
I try and see it the way I approach track and field, right? Because I'm gonna see you guys as my teammates, right? And just because you're my teammate doesn't mean I still don't want to perform my best and measure up to whatever everyone else is doing, right? Mm-hmm. So you're in practice, you know you have training partners, right? And so I think each of us looks at each other and says, oh, they're doing that great. Maybe I can learn something from them. Or, you know, you see the way Josh and Aaron do an interview, or the way Kadeem presents a story, you're like, I want to do something similar to that, or I want to pivot and do something different. I do look at you guys as competition, and it's almost as like a self-check, because if they're raising the bar so high, you have to match or exceed that, right? Just to stay competitive. And so, you know, it's not a thing where if, you know, Josh and Aaron, you know, put out a podcast that does like 100,000 hits, I'm not going to be like, dang, man, I wish I would have came up with that idea. It's like, bro, they're doing it. And I know if they can do it, I can do it. And so it's almost like, you know, this reciprocal relationship where, you know, if they're succeeding, that doesn't mean I'm failing.
But can that be deemed as competition or accountability?
I think a little bit of both, because, you know, it's just the way you approach it. And I do approach it from a competitive sense, because I want MJP TV to be up there with, you know, the big names in track and field media, you know, your Cityus Mags, RunnerSpace, things like that, right? So I do look at it from a competitive standpoint where I need to engage the audience better than the competition to get the views, right? But if you see something that's working for someone else, I'm not just going to be like, you know, bitter and just like, oh, dang, you know, that should be me up there succeeding. So it's always a competition, but it's never, for me at least, it's never rooted from a negative place. At least that's the way I see it.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a combination of, it's a good level of both for competition and community, because obviously, you know, kind of within any profession, you know, you have people who might be doing the same things, but of course you might want to do it a little bit better, or, you know, you're just trying to compete with everybody else in whatever industry that you're in. But say our industry, that's the competition aspect, because you want to be the best or one of the best or one of the greats doing something, but you also don't want to do the same thing that everybody else is doing, and you want to put your own spin on it. And sometimes that comes from the community part, I think, is, you know, having a group like this, like be able to talk and be like, hey, I saw that, you know, you did this in your video, like, you know, how did you do that? Or like, what were you thinking? It's not like I'm going to be like, oh no, I'm not going to tell you how I filmed that shot. Like, that's a secret. You know, it's like, let's say me and Matt were both at the same event and we were both wanting to shoot like a highlight video, right? He has his way of doing it, and I have my way of doing it. And so even though I guess you're gonna say in the moment we're competing because we're doing the same thing at the same time, as we're, you know, maybe sitting next to each other for a shot, I could be like, hey, you know, are you gonna be standing here? And Matt can be like, oh no, I'm actually gonna stand up for this. I'm like, okay, well, if it's okay with you, I'm just gonna stay down here. I have my reasons for shooting lower from the ground, and Matt might have his reason for, you know, shooting more above. And then at that point, we can sit and talk like, oh, well, like, you know, why did you do that? And I could be like, well, look, when I have this clip and put this clip together, it's going to look like this and it's going to look amazing. And then that's like where you get into like the teaching moment, which brings it back to, you know, the fine line with, or the duality, I should say, with competition and community, because you're doing the same thing at the same time, but you can also learn from each other and have a good working relationship with others, instead of just having to be like, oh, I have to beat you, or I have to be better at this than you.
I would say like for me, where we're at right now, I do see like, yeah, there's competition within it, but I feel like I see it as more of a community because like I think about like what are we competing for, you know? At the end of the day, like right now, I feel like we're all trying to like elevate track and field and bring it more to the forefront, make it more mainstream, make sure our stories are told. And I also feel like, as Kadeem was just describing, like we're all in our own lanes. And I'm of the sense like everybody can eat. Like the track and field space is a big Thanksgiving plate. There's so many dishes on there that you can eat from. So and everyone can eat. No one's trying to hide how to get somewhere. Right now, we're at the point where my goal is to put everybody on to make sure our people are all up there eating. So the track world is, you know, getting its due diligence. You know, it's getting the stories are getting told the correct way. It's becoming to more to the forefront. And then maybe once we get to that level, I don't we gotta talk about what we're competing for. But like if it's for followers, it's like, bro, there's so many people in the world. Or is it to be like the best ever? I mean, I don't know. Or is it like you want to be behind the scenes doing camera, you want to be in front of the camera? It's like, yo, let's find you a place where you could eat. Let's find you a place where you could eat. That's ultimately like that's truly like my goal more so. So like I want Running Report and Two Like Runners to be the best podcast of all time. So we in competition with everybody that exists, to be honest. But like at the same time, I'm not like, if it's a track race, like you're gonna lose something if I beat you. Like you're gonna get second place. You know, you might not get that medal or that whatever. But right now, I don't feel like somebody's losing. What am I beating you? What am I beating you in? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess you're definitely taking it more like a workout, Aaron. You're all like, yeah, we could all run this pace. Like you could beat me on this tempo 200, but like, bro, we running tempo 200s. Like, bro,
I'm taking it more so like you'll see when you're done with running, it's like, all right, I'm training to run a marathon. You're training, we're all training to run a marathon. My goal is to run 2:30, but your
Mhm.
goal is to break 3 hours. So like, oh, I ran 2:30, and you're like, I beat you, and you're like, I don't care, bro. Like I was just trying to break three
Yeah.
hours. Like I'm running my own race. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like it doesn't, or it's like, so it's like losing weight too. It's like, oh yeah, like somebody lost 30. It's like, oh, I was like, well, I didn't need to lose 30 pounds, or like I wasn't trying to gain and get that. I wasn't trying to get that big. It's like we all have different goals. We're all doing different things, low key, but ultimately, like we're all working for something to be better.
yeah, I feel you. I would say for me, I would say definitely it's like 30% competition, and then I would even call it, well, it's definitely a community, but I would say like for me personally would be like impact, like 30% competition and 70% impact. And like the competition, just kind of echoing what like Aaron said, like definitely like trying to be the best. And like in track and field, like you trying to be the best. Like I'm trying to win. Like I really do want to win. Like that would be tight. But like I feel like half the time, like definitely doing this in the podcast, like I'm not really thinking about per se winning. Like I'm thinking about like, dang, like I want to get done with this school day for I can edit this podcast, for I can like, for I can just I really want to get Grant Holloway on this podcast to talk to him. I really want to go to Foot Locker just to ask people funny questions. Like it's just really just having fun. And the impact of that is like this can really, I think, doing like nobody's doing a baton talk like that. Like we see so many just like like what's the sidewalk like interviews, and like why can't I do that at a track meet? There's so many different characters around here, like sort of just having like that type of impact to try and do something that's like different. And maybe it doesn't get like a million views, but maybe somebody does it 2 years from now and they're inspired by what we did, and like they're the biggest thing ever. Like I'll be hyped. I'll be like, let's go. Like, come on, the real ones know where that came from. Like, come on now. So like, but that, I think that's what it mainly is, like 70% impact, trying to do something different that people, I want people to see what we're doing and be all like, yeah, I haven't really seen that before. So like, it may not, you're not gonna get it right away, but like, bro, I'm 21. Like we got a long way. We got enough time to get it sometime sooner or later. So I don't know.
And I feel like that's kind of where I was going with the duality of the competition aspect and the community aspect. It's like, you know, what you guys are doing, like you said, like literally no one, I haven't seen a single other person really doing things the way that you two are doing. Yeah. And so to a certain degree, like you guys are the forerunner. So like you're having to, you know, take those chances and, you know, perspectively speaking, fight those battles in order to lay the groundwork for, as you said, you know, 2 years from now, you could have somebody doing something similar. They could be like, oh, the two black runners, like I saw them doing that. And like, all of a sudden I really wanted to do something like that. And then that's where you have the community part, because now you guys have laid a path going forward. You guys have forged a path, and now you're just allowing other people to follow. And then that could breed into, you know, later down the line, somebody has a different take on how you guys do things. Yeah. But then the kind of like with the analogy we keep talking about Thanksgiving dinners is, if you think about it, at a Thanksgiving dinner, you have so much of everything from, you know, you have your mom making this, your aunt making this, your grandfather making this, your cousin bringing this, like all of that. It's all in one place and one space at one time. But the way that it, each plate got to the table is totally different.
Most definitely.
Dang, that's a great analogy, bro.
I'm freaking thinking, I wish this show was sponsored by the You Name It challenge, because in my mind I'm thinking greens, beans, potatoes.
Hey, like I said, I still haven't made dinner yet. I
probably shouldn't have brought, listen, I don't care, I'm hungry. Well, I had a big meal before this, but no, I appreciate everything everybody said. I can't look at it as a competition this early, because the way I'm wired, I'm just getting started. Lactic Acid is just getting started, and I wanted this to be, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that every person, and if T was still on, she had to dip, and we definitely appreciate her. Follow her, we'll plug her at the end of the show, but every single person on this chat started what they're doing to enhance a product and to do something different. Am I wrong in saying that?
Nope.
No. You're completely right.
No, every single one of every single person. And so I feel like, you know, for me, I wanted Lactic Acid to be something totally different, because I don't really want to talk track and field and everything like that. Here's the thing, I'm a thrower. I threw the shot put in the discus. What do I know about distance running, except that's what I do, run a lap to warm up or whatever it might be. I had a distance runner on the show, and she's sponsoring this show, the Paper Trails Greeting Company, and I told her in an episode, my long runs are the ones to the refrigerator and back to the chair. Like that's, you know, that's me. I can't, you know, explain that, but, you know, maybe everyone doesn't want to always have to answer the same questions. You guys, you know, baton talk, you bring such a different perspective. Like I said, the first thing that I was told was high energy. Matthew and Kadeem, you guys are more on the video side, but each of your videos are different than a video that I've seen 10,000 times from the same person, or, you know, there's different ideas, you know, behind it. There's a deeper chain of thought. You can tell that some creativity and effort went into it. So for me, I can't look at it as a competition, because Matthew has helped me with this page, you know, with YouTube. which listen, I have to wait till season 1 of this is over. It's a lot, to deal with because there's so many things that go into it. But I can't ask you guys for help if I'm competing against you. I play football. Am I going to ask the offensive tackle, okay, what blocking scheme are y'all doing so I can know how to beat you on the next play? I can't do that. And then from a competition standpoint, I don't think I could cheer for you guys in your success if it's a competition and I'm not disputing anything that anyone said at all. And I think this is kind of a problem in some respects in the culture because it's taught, like I said, this was a mentality in school and it's in schools and it's in competition. You kick whoever you have, you do what you got to do to get to the top. It's not this everybody eats mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I look at it and it's like, if me feeling good means me having envy of my counterparts or being happy when they fall, it's just like, I can't do that. And stuff like that. And here's the thing, I want to be, I want this to be great. The Lord told me to do this. It's something totally different. He told me how to do it. People thought I'm crazy. People still think I'm crazy, just like they probably think we're all crazy in the road that we're on. But I think from a competition standpoint, and that's just me as a competitor, it's just something that I can't do because with you guys, I listen to the episodes and it's something, it's like, listen, well, that's a good idea. And I think all of you would agree it's not about taking the idea, but it's like, okay, that's a good idea. How can I do something different, but just as entertaining? Because that's how, we grow. And so I have all these ideas and everything like that, based off what you guys bring. T does live interviews. Well, let me not tell that lie. I thank God I went the print route instead of, being, behind the camera. So I don't have to do live interviews, let alone on Instagram. Everybody brings, like I said, something unique to the table. And just for me personally, like I said, I respect everything that you guys said. And I think, maybe one day, and maybe it's because I'm just starting, in this, field, and you guys have, more years and more experience. And, maybe I will get to that.
I started in 2020. Nah, I ain't got no more years.
2014.
2018, I think. Well, no, 2019. I don't know, something like that. Doesn't feel like a long time though. Does not feel like a long time at all.
I'm just getting started too.
This segment feels like a Sam Cooke, a change gonna come.
It is.
Home by the river.
Home by the river in a little
Okay.
tent.
Amen.
But in closing, so I have this last thought for you guys, and then we'll ask you just a couple questions, and then we'll get the show on the road. What encourages you about what you've seen, especially this past year? Obviously, Magic Boost is a big part of that. And what advice would you have for someone who is discouraged, a minority that is discouraged and along this journey? What piece of advice would you give them to keep going?
I would say the start is always going to be the hardest. When you're just starting out, no one knows who you are. You don't really have a voice yet. That's going to be the hardest part. And whether that's doing a podcast or video like me and Kadeem do, or an interview series like you, Dom, just keep going. And it's going to pay off eventually. And you being Black is not going to stop you from achieving any of the goals that you set for yourself. Sure, there might be more obstacles, but you're more than capable. You have a community here that you can reach out to. I feel like all of us are very approachable when it comes to, either talking to people who are fans of our content, or even just people who come up to us and say, hey, I really like what you're doing. There's a community that you can tap into who will support you and who will, give you encouragement that, wasn't there, say 3 years ago. So I would say lean on the people who are here, and just know if you're going to start something, it's worth it. Everyone's going to think you're crazy until you actually do it. But you have to have the vision, and you being Black is your superpower, not your curse.
I like that. Yeah, and just going off of what Matthew just said, as someone who has kind of been in this sports industry and namely track and field industry for a number of years. Looking back, like when I started this, and I was mainly just a journalist, just doing writing. That was that I wasn't doing any video or any of the stuff that I do now. And when I started at that time, I was a sophomore in high school. And honestly, I just started doing it just because I can make some money on the side. And people said I was a decent writer. So I was like, okay, yeah, why not? And the more I did it, back when DiceStat used to have state sites and it was DiceStat Florida, I started this mini series called Unranked. And basically what it was is, I was competing against some of these kids while I was in high school myself, but I wanted to find the kids who, maybe weren't the top 5 cross-country runners in the state, but the one who was 6 and 7. I would go and basically tell their story and kind of highlight them. And I think that's where the storytelling bug really got me. And it drove me further to figure out how to tell stories. One, how to tell more stories, but also how to tell stories in different ways. Because the reason why I love video so much is there's so many ways that you can tell a story, or like even just having, let's say, like someone is talking about a personal experience of theirs, like a certain home track that they, used to compete in, when they were in middle school or something like that. And even just having a B-roll shot of like that high school or something like that, that just adds something and it helps, drive the story forward. And so it's like all these years later, now I'm not just doing writing, I'm learned how to do social media, photo, video. Now I'm directing and producing shows, and I'm having a world of a time with that. I really enjoy it. But it's taken almost 8 years for me to get to this point. Like it's been a lot of changes, and it's been a lot of stuff that I've gone through. Not even in a struggling sense, but these things do take time. But if it's something that you really want to do and really have the passion for it, go for it. Like I'm from Florida. I've been in Florida my entire life. I went to school in North Carolina. Now I'm all the way in Eugene, Oregon, which is still insane. Still getting used to the cold weather. But the point is, I started from somewhere because it's simply something that I wanted to do, and I had an idea about something, and I went for it. And that's what I would tell anybody else also. If you have certain opportunities presented to you, go for it. The worst that can happen is it doesn't pan out the way that you wanted it to, but it's better to take that opportunity and run with it versus sitting and thinking, the what ifs.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. I would say for me, the most encouraging thing over the past year, definitely Chris Chavez, Shade Room Chris, and
Shade
Sidious
Room
Mag.
Chris. I was trying to figure out what this nickname was.
Shout out Chris Chavez.
Like what he has done over the past year with Sidious Mag, and like first with like Hayward and Magic Boost, and then just growing and steamrolling through that, and then now quitting his job at Sports Illustrated to try and bring Sidious Mag to the next level. And I think it's going to be on that. It already kind of is, I feel like, but it's going to be on that same level that Flow Track and RunnerSpace have very soon. That it's going to be those 3 competitors, the same as we for football we see NBC, Fox, and CBS is going to be the same thing with Sidious Mag, Flow Track, and RunnerSpace. I really do believe that, and I feel like for him, it really just started from a pipe dream, just going out, just what he always tells a story like watching Olympic track one day and then just getting more and more into it, then it kind of just snowballed into where he is now, and it's crazy. But what he has done has definitely like encouraged me, because I feel like I'm sort of like in a similar spot to where he started, still being in school and stuff and having a little bit of that passion. So to see what he's doing and how he's able to communicate with all these pros, and this dude low-key, I feel like this dude definitely has a say in what things can go on and can reach. He may not have that much of a big of a reach, but I feel like he does. And he's someone that's doing it with like Hispanic descent too. So like he's definitely doing it different. But then I would, for anyone else there starting out new, number one thing I would say is just consistency. And like that's hard, like way harder said than done. Be consistent. That's probably the hardest part of anything that you'll try and do. But like you just have to realize that like what what you're trying to do isn't ordinary, and like you aren't ordinary, so like you can't do ordinary things in a sense. So like trying to do something every single week, even though it may seem like a lot, like it can be done. Like you're not ordinary, you're a weirdo, you're a freak. Like those people that called you that, they're right. Let's be honest here, you're
Oh my
kind of different.
gosh.
You're kind of different. Like accept it. Like, and have that be your motivator and really get you to that next thing. Like the people that have been telling you that you're gifted for something, like they're right. And if they're not telling you that, prove them wrong. You know what I mean? Like you gotta have some type of faith in yourself and believe in yourself. But like having that consistency is like the biggest thing, and just keep on trying and trying and trying. And like it doesn't matter if people don't watch it at first. Like if you that good and you really want to do it, like there's someone like you out there that wants to hear your stuff. Like I feel like definitely for Dominique, there's definitely throwers out there like right now, like in high school, that would probably, if they heard like your story as like a thrower to now, they would probably be like, dang, bro, like that's cool. Like they would be more interested in throwing out and look at track and field probably in a different perspective if they got to hear your story. I really do believe, and I believe that there's still distance runners out there that haven't heard of Two Black Runners, or just runners out there that haven't heard of MJPTV, that if they saw it, they would be all like, wait, I really like running now. This is like something that I can really get into. And I really think eventually it will get there, but it's the infancy. And like, we haven't even learned to walk yet, but sometimes it feels like we running, but like we haven't learned to walk, which is crazy. It's really crazy.
Chris, man, we love it. We appreciate all that you've done for us. Definitely follow the Citius Magazine networks. Post, I'll make an Instagram post for this, but yeah, great shout out. Great analogies too. I love it, man. Go ahead, Aaron.
Y'all dropping bars right here. So if you listen to this podcast, you really getting a bunch of gems. I would say most encouraging has just been seeing like all of the change that has kind of been happening behind the scenes in the sports, from like Josh was saying, Chris, Insidious Mag, to people doing meets on YouTube, to seeing all these different like podcasts pop up. We're definitely living in a, because of COVID, unfortunately, we're living in an era where change has come about and these opportunities are coming. So it's very encouraging to see that. I guess my biggest advice I would give to someone starting out would definitely be like what Matt and Joshua just said too. Like if you're a minority, like being black, that's your superpower. Like that thing where people were saying you're weird or you're different, like that is what makes you special. And that's goes if you're in the running industry, because I come from that running industry, or the media space, like that part of you is like that is what really is powerful. So really like lean into that, lean into that. If that's you feel like your culture, if that's like you being really into whatever anime, really lean into that, because that is what like really does make you special. And another thing I would say is like you never really know where things are going to lead to. So like really like don't just, consistency is key, but just say don't give up too easy, because you don't know who's watching. And if you keep going on that grind, the opportunities are there. And one last thing I would say, like for me, what I really like is like I get motivated very easily, but I like find those people that you are really inspired by and find out their stories and how they got to where they are. Like people are really like, Chris is a prime example of someone that is really laying down a blueprint. Like get to know Chris, get to know what he did and how he got to where he was. That doesn't mean you have to copy him exactly, but that will open up your mind and be like, wow, there is opportunities. I can do it this way. So if that comes from reading or listening to podcasts, even if it's someone like, yeah, like Stephen A. Smith, learn his story. Like, how did he become where he was at? And apply some of those principles to your life. And I think that's really powerful too.
Well said. Yeah, it's all of that. It is great. I think for me, I would pose my advice with a question. And I was talking to a friend about this because we were talking about a different topic, but I said, would you like to eat pot roast from a Marie Callender's frozen dinner that you stick in the microwave and 3 minutes later is ready, or from a crock pot? Because if you want it from a microwave dinner, you're going to get what someone else put in there. Like, you're going to get what they think is good. You're going to get, the frozen aspect, the processed food. But if you put it in a crock pot and you let it fully develop, then you can put your own flavors in there. You can put your own vegetables in there. You can put your own spices and herbs in there. And so that's a hard lesson. I mean, because along the journey, you tend to get discouraged and everything, but it resembles life. It builds character, it builds toughness, and always pay attention to the hidden blessings in the good and the bad, and have discernment. And I think all of us can agree on this. There's a lot of people that come in, and there's a phrase that says, what's good to you ain't good for you, ain't always good for you. And they can speak what they think is life, or they can offer shortcuts, but there's no shortcuts in this industry. You have to put your head down, and you just have to grind, and you just have to learn what you can learn, and just know that it'll pay off after a while. And one thing that I will say that I think about is that we all want to reach billions of people, but sometimes if you reach one, and if someone listens to one of our episodes, or someone watches, a video, listen to T's live stream, and one person is encouraged by it, then we've done our job and everything. So that's where we're going to leave off. And so I got a couple questions. This segment is called Down the Home Stretch. I'm going to ask you guys some rapid fire questions, and I hope that you can answer them to the best of your ability. Then we're going to plug all of you guys as platforms, and we're going to wrap this up with a bow. Are you guys ready?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Get it. Let's get it.
Okay. Who has the most Black Force energy in this group? Which show? Which
Black
person?
Air Force energy? Is that what he's gonna say?
Aaron.
Yeah, Black Air Force
I
energy.
do.
Aaron for sure. Aaron will, man, spit that hot fire.
Wait, what was the question? Between us?
No,
Well, you can do it between you guys, but the consensus was Aaron. But who, of everybody on this recording, who has the most Black Air Force One energy?
Yeah, I guess it would be Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron.
Yeah. Aaron, man, he's gone back and forth with Nick on Twitter. It's like, bro, this dude's legit.
I'm dead.
Nick?
I'm a passionate person, bro. That's all.
Wait, Nick who?
Yeah, that's what we're saying. Nick who? No, I'm just kidding. Nick Simmons.
I'm dead.
Nick Simmons.
Shout out Nick
Okay.
Simmons. Simmons, you're still welcome on the podcast,
perfect.
bro. Aaron doesn't have to be on it though. I'm just playing.
Yo.
Oh man, if you had to pick a TV character to describe who you guys are individually as track and field storytellers, who would it be? I'll give mine real quick. Mine is a hybrid between Uncle Bernie from the Bernie Mac Show and Julius from Everybody Hates Chris. That's mine. Like, I fully, one day I can imagine myself getting mad at my kid for spilling milk and just being like, listen, that's 27 cents worth of milk dripping on my table. Somebody better drink this milk. Like, I fully envision that being me.
Give me some time. Y'all know.
That's a good one.
That's a good cop out, Matt.
I don't know. I guess for me, you said TV and movie, right?
Yeah.
I would probably say Iron Man / Robert Downey Jr. The only reason why is because I'm very sarcastic, especially when I'm around people that I'm really comfortable with. I will have no problem just leaving a slick remark just to be funny. And Robert Downey Jr. / Iron Man kind of has that same energy. Like, he's very, very quick-witted, but still very intelligent and thoughtful with what he says, even if he is, making a pun. Yeah, so I think that's what. Plus, he's always thinking like 10 steps ahead, and I'm very much a planner, and so yeah, RDJ, Iron Man, that would be mine.
I'm
I
gonna
would
say.
say. Oh, you
Oh,
want to
you-
go ahead? You want to go first, Aaron?
What?
I'll say I would say Naruto, bro.
Okay.
Because I'm just what I just because
Naruto Uzumaki.
yeah, just because like
Ebushi no Jutsu.
yeah, he's just a very because I'm just thinking like this dude is like believe it, like I'm gonna be the Hokage, you know. And that's like that's if you listen to if you watch the dub, but like and I feel like that about like what we do in the media space. I'm like believe it, like we gonna make this happen. We're gonna blow up. You know what I'm saying? So that's gonna be mine.
I'm gonna say who I aspire to be is like Wizard Kelly in Proud Family, just because I would like to be that tall.
Oh,
That's
Oh my
definitely
God.
a dream of mine. And like Wizard Kelly, just like this man, he owned everything. Wouldn't you want to be like, come on, man? Like Wizard Kelly was definitely living big. Now he wasn't always right. He was definitely getting protested in about like 3 different episodes. But I wouldn't be like that type of Wizard Kelly. Like I want to, like Wizard Kelly made it. He a
He
black
did.
man that made it.
Can't even
Like
see
for
his
sure.
face.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
about to say, have we ever even seen his face?
No.
I don't think so.
He too nice.
Do you really want to be that tall to where nobody can see your face?
Oh gosh, that is awesome, man. I want to change my answer. Can I change it to either Bobby? You know, he could sing. He's like the young Al Green. He's like the young Al Green. Or what was the sergeant? The one I was like, Quafu, respect your sweet little sugar mama. Yeah, that would be me.
Oh,
But,
I don't know his name. I know what you're talking about though.
I love that answer. Math, what you got?
So I'm going back to my childhood for this one. This isn't like a physical character, but I would probably say Simba, just because of that journey and making mistakes and still coming back and rising up. Because my path hasn't been perfect. I'm not squeaky clean. Like I've made mistakes, but I feel like Simba's story is so relatable because he had this purpose that he was running from, but now he went after it. And I feel like that's kind of relatable to me where, I always wanted to do something similar to this. Like I've talked to my parents and stuff. It's like, hey, I feel like, I could make a podcast or a show or something. And I finally just did it. So I would say Simba is probably the one I relate to the most.
Wizard.
My dad's not dead though. My dad is still alive.
Love that.
Thank God.
Wizard Kelly. No, you don't get it. Unfortunately, that answer just made me forget the last question I was going to ask.
Superheroes?
No, I changed that to TV characters. That's okay.
Oh, well, now I gotta change mine because I thought that one was coming. Oh, that's easy for me now. It's gotta be Deku, Izuku Midoriya.
Midoriya.
He's one of those where he started out, meek and mild, right, kind of timid, but he had this gift given to him, right, and he had to cultivate it, and it takes him time to learn to master it, and he fails, but he keeps coming back, and he fights with like this spirit that no one else has, no matter how many times he gets knocked down. I definitely say Deku would be one of the people.
Speaking of my hero, I was out running this afternoon and I saw a sign. It was totally unrelated, but my hero was the first thought because on one side of the billboard it literally said "all for one," and then the other side said "one for all." And my hero was my instant thought. I was just like,
Almighty.
In 10 seconds or less, spiciest hot take that won't get you canceled. Spiciest track and field hot take for this upcoming season that won't get you in trouble.
Trayvon Bromell is not going to win the medal.
Oof.
Not gonna win a medal? Is that what you said?
Oof.
Yep.
He didn't win a medal last year, so.
But okay, but that's like the 4x1 and an individual one. So he's not winning anything.
Nothing.
It's shocking that he didn't win one last year, though. Is that not shocking?
Yeah, it was.
Not for the 4x1.
He didn't win one for the 4x1. That's what I'm saying. So we can't even think like, oh, I mean, I would hope our 4x1 medals, but like, and I hope he would be on it, but there's a chance that they don't.
I mean, I'll be honest. I was surprised that he didn't do as well as we all thought that he was going to go into the Olympics, because I was actually in Jacksonville when I can't remember what the time was, but when he ran the world leading time, I was literally like on the sidelines and watched that happen. So I was like, oh snap, like Bramel's back, like let's go. So yeah, I was expecting a lot. So that was a little bit of a letdown.
I think he's coming back even stronger.
I think so too. I'm still rooting for him.
Yeah, I know that's mine. I still think he's going to make the podium. Who has the next hot take?
I'll just say this. Joe said Norris wins gold in the World Championships.
Okay, that's false. You just saying stuff. No, I'm just kidding. Just say, I hope you don't listen to this. You don't hold me though. No, just kidding.
That would be tight, bro. That's a hot
tight.
take though. That'd be tight.
Well, guess what? I have this recording. So,
I mean, I guess for me, I would say Fred Curley's gonna pull off another double at like a major championships. I don't think it was just like a one-time thing that he did.
Okay.
I got one. I think mine playing off Kadeem, Michael Norman is gonna run the 100 and trying to qualify for Worlds at the 100.
Really? I can see it though.
Can you imagine a 4x1?
Or let's say by the Olympics, the Worlds, that's kind of quick. But by Worlds, he's gonna be trying to do the 100.
I mean, he ran the 100 at Prefontaine, so I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Up for this year.
My hot take. This is a hot take. Area 9 wins the gold medal in the 200.
I love that take. That'd be crazy.
At what, Worlds?
Yes.
What are you talking about?
Worlds.
That could definitely happen.
He will be the world champion, and Team USA sweeps the podium in the 200.
Okay, so going off of that, who would be your top three then?
Arian Knighton, Noah Lyles, Fred Curley.
Oh wow! So Kenny Bednarik is just falling off a cliff.
I didn't say he fell off a cliff. He just fell off the medal stand.
I already said that. I low-key said this on the podcast, Joshua.
Wait, hold on. No,
you gotta stop disrespecting Kung Fu Kenny.
I love Kung Fu Kenny.
No disrespect to Kung Fu Kenny. You know, Kenny Bednarik. Y'all know who Mr. Beast is?
Yeah,
of course we know.
Did y'all see Kenny Bednarik in Mr. Beast video? He got ran down by Logan Paul. They were playing tag, and he got ran down by Logan Paul. Has no one seen this? I was thinking of posting this on Running Report, but I felt like it would be disrespectful. So I'm saying here on the podcast, go look this up. Let me see what video this is.
Hey, text it in a group chat offline. I want to see this.
Yes,
he got ran down. It's like in the first minute of the video. I'm all like, bro, come on, man. Logan Paul, like,
out of all people.
You know they paid him to do that.
Yes.
That's nothing but YouTube drama.
That's all we're gonna say. But listen, real quick, in 30 seconds, unless each of you promote the brand, let me do T real quick. Let me get up on my Instagram page. She is Real Talk with T. You can follow her on Instagram there, and you can do the same on Spotify and Apple brand new podcasts. I forgot the days that she has live interviews, but it's definitely something you want to check out. Potts Brothers, 2 Black runners. Tell me about it real quick.
Joshua, you want it? You want this, or you want me to hit it?
You got it.
All right, if y'all don't know, go ahead and follow us. We're 2 Black Runners, 2 Black Runners podcast, coming at you every single 2 Black Tuesday on all platforms. You can follow us on Instagram as well, and we also have the Running Report. You know, it's a media outlet produced for and by the culture. You'll see a lot of cool video content on there coming up this next year. But yes, appreciate you having us, Dom.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Kadeem, Matthew, my videographers, come with it.
For me, it's literally just my name, Kadeem Wynn, for Instagram, Twitter, newest and latest RunnerSpace Swiss Army knife. I do a lot of things and I travel a lot sometimes.
We go. So I am the host and the creator of MJP TV, where we put track and field first. You can subscribe to me on YouTube at MJP TV. Follow me on Instagram or Twitter at MJPTV0. And if you're into, track and field content, I'm sure you'll find something you like. And yeah.
Appreciate you guys coming on the show. And this show, Lactic Acid, brought to you, sponsored by the Paper Trails Greeting Company. New episodes every Tuesday between 11 and 12:30 Eastern Time. Follow the Instagram page, Lactic Acid Podcast. Twitter, Lactic Acid _pod. TikTok, don't know how to use it, but go ahead and still follow Lactic Acid Podcast and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Ooh, brain fart there. Want to thank you guys for coming on. This won't be the last time I have them on. We need to do a hot take episode where we just do exclusive hot takes, but we'll figure that out later. Thank you all again, and we'll catch you next time.